And I have to add that I feel very privileged to have been an advocate and to continue to be so, but also slightly frustrated at times on this journey. I would love every single person in our diocese, in our churches, to come into contact with this process, be it through browsing the resources on the LLF Hub, on the Church of England website, or reading a book, or most importantly, taking part in a course. Hopefully you've all watched the 2 videos that were signposted on the agenda and read the paper that was sent around with the order papers. And we want to use today to think about the journey so far in living in love and faith, and to think about what is going to happen next. And I hope that after today, if you haven't been engaged in the process, that you will put some time aside to do so, because this is a very important project in the life of our church. This is not just a theologically abstract project. It affects deeply the lives of many of our church members. It follows on from 3 years of shared conversations and has been designed to help people to have further conversations in our parishes that will help us all to learn together. And the next slide, please. You can read from the screen that we're going to reflect on where we are as a diocese with LLF and how we can overcome some of the barriers to engagement, because there certainly have been barriers, both intrinsic and extrinsic, to getting people to engage in the project. And as your advocate, I want to hear from you how we can encourage people to run a course. Because the issues that LLF touches are not going to go away anytime soon. We need to help people to have conversations with each other and to help them to learn about what it means to be human in our world today. Next slide, please. This is where we started. We had many people attending the Bishop's Teaching Morning on Zoom just over a year ago, where our bishops reflected on scripture and tradition in relation to the issues of identity and sexuality. And then I came to Synod in March to launch the course and to ask people to access the resources and begin the learning process. And at the Rural Deans Lay Chairs meeting in June, encouraged deaneries to promote the course. And I managed to access a number of free course booklets to facilitate this. I then provided some course facilitation training, which was gratefully received by around a dozen people. And Dean Joe and Archdeacon Sally also held 2 forums which were well attended, and debate was able to take place about some of the concerns that people have. Next slide, please. But to date, only a small number of courses have been run across the diocese, although I extend my thanks to those who have run these courses. This is disappointing, but it has largely been due to COVID and other priorities that the pandemic has thrown up in getting the course out there. And as you can see, the resulting 28 questionnaires that have been returned is again slightly disappointing. Anecdotally, those who have taken part in the course have found it to be very helpful, and it has been a safe space where people holding opposite views on issues of human sexuality and marriage within the church have been able to have meaningful conversations. The hope was that the course would enable these conversations to take place between ourselves and God, and between God and the church. It was designed to help us to get a better grasp of why we think differently, and at the same time to be open and honest with one another. And the survey at the end of the course asks the participant whether their understanding and learning about the issues has been helped by the course. I have a copy of the survey with me if anyone would like to see it. They are, of course, anonymous, and data collected from the survey will be used in forming the report that will go to the College of Bishops in September. And the next slide, please. So as you can see from this slide, it is the College of Bishops who have responsibility for decisions that are made in this process. And the timetable has, of course, slipped due to COVID. The survey will be closed at the end of April. And as you can see, the data from the survey forms just one part of the report. Many people have also written to Dr. Eva John, who is the project lead, and these independent responses, as she calls them, will also go into the report, plus the in-person focus groups, which will take place in areas of economic and social deprivation, as well as creative responses that have been received. Next slide, please. 3 residential College of Bishops meetings are planned between September and December, as you can see. So the autumn will be pretty much devoted to reflection and prayer, using the report that will be published in September. And the Next Steps group, led by the Bishop of London, Sarah Mullally, will be looking at ways that this discernment phase will not be seen as a closed shop, but will be open and transparent in its thinking and formulation of the report, which will go to Synod next year, hopefully in February. And there will also be engagement with General Synod this July. We also have to remember the context in which this is all taking place, against the backdrop of the Church of England's vision of being simpler, humbler and bolder, of the Families and Households Commission, and of what is happening with banning conversion therapy, and of course the Lambeth Conference. Next slide.